Cleveland. And I moved out here, and the first shot I did in San Francisco was Kezar Stadium, Led Zeppelin. Last time I did acid. Never stood up. I just took one shot, and it's still there. But it's odd to be up here and be a legend. I'm just Pat Johnson, the sap from Cleveland who does photography. I've done a lot of cool things. I've got some funny stories. Probably one of the coolest ones is I shot Snoop Dogg years ago, and at the end of the shoot, he kept doing this thing, the West Side. I don't know if you know the West Side gang side. So when I'm done, I go, "Can I get a shot with you?" He goes, "Fuck yeah!" So I go like this, and he goes, "What the fuck is that?" He goes, "That's P for Pat." And so about 2 weeks later, the Beavis and Butthead Maranathon, and it's Beavis and Snoop Dogg, and at the end of the thing, he goes like this. And fucking Snoop Dogg steals my gang sign, the old white guy from Cleveland. And that was also, I was the coach of my kids' Little League team, that was our steel home sign, so I was a fucking god. This is really bizarre. Let's see. Another cool one was actually how I got started, because being a photographer, everyone here is doing something. We're all in the same boat. We're trying to do art. We're trying to make a living and do something that we love. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. Every musician knows that. You work your ass off, and sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't. But how I got started was I just ran into a guy named Doug Roach. He was a bass player in Santana. He OD'd on heroin 25 years ago. And I was helping him with cameras, and he invited me to be his guest at Winterland. For New Year's Eve, I went up there, and I was going to shoot like 4,000 shots of Santana. And this new act was playing. It was like Mexican night at New Year's Eve. It was Sapo, Malo, Santana, and a new act called Journey. And no one ever heard of him. It was our first show. And I look up, and there's Neil Sean and Greg Rowley from Santana. I vaguely recognized them, vaguely took one shot. That one shot of Neil Sean triggered my career. And I'm here, standing here, being a fool, like sort of like an egomaniac up here because of that one photograph. And it's because of Doug Roach and dragging me to do that. Gene, help me out. Another cool thing is the Jackson 5. I worked with them for 3 days, and people always ask me who are the greatest people I work with. Nicest: Michael Jackson, David Bowie, and Sting. Bar none, the nicest people I ever worked with. The Jackson spent 3 days when they were the Jackson 5, and the third day there was a autograph signing on Haight Street, and we didn't expect very many people to be there, and 4,000 kids showed up, and the back people just kind of slowly like that pushed the front people through the plate glass window as I'm standing there taking pictures, and these kids come flying through, blood everywhere. Michael Jackson never signed an autograph. When he left, he was a really sweet guy, and I just said to myself, I never want to be in that position. This kid's 15 years old, has no life. He asked me, "What'd you do last night?" I played softball. And how'd you do? He was more interested in me playing softball than, because he couldn't do it. It was a really sad existence, but a really sweet man. Am I boring you guys yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since we're in the political climate, I had to shoot Dick fucking Cheney one morning. Right? I'm sure if you're a Dick Cheney man, he's a great guy. No, but he was a dickhead. So I had to shoot Dick Cheney one morning. He had to be vetted, and I had to go get the stupid Dick Cheney press pass. And later that afternoon, I had to shoot Willie Nelson. So Willie Nelson standing, hey Willie. So I had Willie Nelson sign my Dick Cheney press pass. That's one of my prized possessions. He looks at me, what the fuck, Let's see. She wants me to tell the Iggy Pop story. It's not really a rock and roll story. It was when I was a kid growing up in Cleveland. And if you know music and you know the famous picture of Iggy going like that, standing on people's shoulders, well, that was in Cincinnati Pop Festival, and me and my friends all went there. Never heard of fucking Iggy Pop. All on acid, all squirrel our way up front to see Traffic. And this guy comes out, the Stooges, and it was droning, dives into the crowd, smears peanut butter all over himself. We're holding his legs up. And it blew our minds completely, because you're like la la la, hippie hippie dippy, and this guy's going fuck you, And following week we went to this pop festival called Goose Lake, and somehow we were in the middle of nowhere and the 300,000 people were somewhere else. It's like 3 in the morning again, coming down from LSD. I did LSD a bit at that era. And we're sitting at a campfire. And over in the woods, there's this guy by himself going, making these noises. And what the fuck is that? Hey, that's that guy from last week. So we call him over to our campfire, and he's like sitting there making, shaking, and his eyes all fucked up. And what are you gonna do today? He goes, we all see. And he leaves, and we're like, holy shit. You know, because we all looked at his eyes were like a fly. Well, at the Goose Lake Pop Festival, he wound up trying to cause a riot, tearing down the fence. The bass player was so fucked up he didn't show up. The band, they cut the power on him, and this band came out called Savage Grace and did Little Drummer Boy. So I became an Iggy Pop fan from day one. And then we saw him at Bimbo's like 2 years later, and he gets a blowjob on stage at Bimbo's. So you gotta love Iggy Pop all the way. So I'm an Iggy fan.